Okay, so Burlington Ghost Walks, we did start, established in 2001. We've been doing tours now 18 years. And as I was saying, when I was the time was getting into the fall, people have not been showing up. And when they do show up, it's always in the fall or after the end of September, so it's weird. But it is a 2-hour walking tour. We've reduced it. All right, so Brian will be back in the back. Brian's also a psychic and empath. He picks up things, and we've been had a lot of good results in the last couple of years. If you check out the website, burlingtonghostwalks.ca, you'll find a lot of the pictures and a lot of things we've actually captured that we either cannot explain or we can't. It's just something that we've picked up on the tours or entities or ghosts or something. So I'd never say it's absolutely positive a ghost, because then I will get criticism that, well, you think it's a ghost and ghosts don't exist, and everybody else argues about it. So I always assume and let other people decide what they think it is. So that's the best way, because ideally we can't prove it because it's on the other side and we haven't died yet and we can't figure it out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure most people have had experiences of ghosts and hauntings and different things, and I've had a lot of them. But it's up, if you do get things happen, most of the times we've had on the tour people getting touched, felt with their on the back or pulled hair or seen something and it disappears. I think the two things that stood out in all the tours that I've done is this guy appears on Ontario Street. Like we're talking about a funeral home. It's the first funeral home in Burlington. It's called the South Paw. And so the weirdest thing is, so we'd be all there, like 30, 40 people of us in front of this funeral home, this house, and this hearse would show up, early 1970s, early hearse, 69 maybe, and this guy would walk out, get out, and he'd be standing like a butler, and you look at him and there's no legs, and it was just bizarre. The hearse perfectly looked like a car, just like that, and the guy'd walk out and be looking around, like as a person he has no legs, and then we're all looking and things fades away. It's just totally bizarre. That's the one thing I can say. Emma's back porch is actually the lodge next door, but this is known as the Estaminet, the original Emma's back porch, home of Emma and George Byron. So it's actually known as the Water Street Cooker, which started off as the Estaminet restaurant back in 1910, and it's the original building to this day that's still here with a few renovations, but it's the original homestead of Emma and George, who started the first restaurant in Burlington and the first actually bed and breakfast. So they were known as British loyalists, and they came over from Britain, and they established the building here, and then became very famous and well known. They started almost a bistro cafe, and that's what the Estaminet means in French. So they had a few tables down here, they had a bedroom, they had upstairs. Emma had over 13 servants that were working here, and they all stayed in the basement, and they had also 13 cats. So Emma, from time to time, a lot of the staff hear cats crying, and there's no cats here. And the reason why it's called Emma's back porch is because when the building was in disrepair and the actual owners took it over, Craig Kowalczyk and Kellen Johnson, they went through the diary and they found out that through the diary it was called Emma's because Emma she was always in the back porch. She's always hanging around the cats. She always did the stuff. And ironically, through a seance that they had, because they were renovating the building, and they couldn't get any workers to work here. They were all getting thrown out. They're getting hit in the head with hammers, nails, and everything. Nothing was getting done. So Craig, not being superstitious and didn't care about ghosts, goes, I don't know what the hell's going on. They called in a psychic from St. Catharines, and they actually did a seance, and Emma came through the seance. She was furious, and all the lights and all the power went out, and all the candles went out. She goes, what are you doing in my house? What's wrong with you guys? And then Craig says, well, we're renovating and making better, fixing it all, trying to figure out what to do, renovating, making a good restaurant. She goes, well, if you call it Emma's Back Porch in tribute of me, it'll be the most famous restaurant in Ontario, in Canada. And to that day, it has lived up to its name. So since they had called it Emma's Back Porch, they went through the diary, And ever since it's been the Emma's, and that's how it became very famous. Back in the late 30s and 40s, famous people that stayed here were John Diefenbaker, Pierre Trudeau, Ella Fitzgerald, Winston Churchill. They had over 200 guest registrations, and you'll see that upstairs when we go upstairs. So Emma was very well known to host famous parties, famous things. We're going to go inside and talk more because I can't talk over him. And talk about all. So this is Emma's back porch Water Street cooker. The reason why it's called the Water Street cooker from the 1900s or 1972 was because it's built on the lake and it's on the Water Street. So below this street here, it's a water level, which isn't too high. Several years ago, they actually have the whole road caved in because there was a giant sinkhole. Wow. And went right down to the water table of the lake and cars were falling in it. Oh my God. So it was kind of cool because the building is actually built on the lake itself. Yeah. So and they have no, but they had to renovate it. They do have a basement they used to have tunnels that would go down to the lake, and Emma would actually make 100% hooch. So she was making the sunshine. I mean, what do you call it? Moonshine. She was making 100% whiskey and rum, wow. And she'd take boats out from the tunnels to go across to Buffalo and sell them on the lake. So, and when they renovated the building, they'd find the copper kettle. They'd find like sealed 100% pure good whiskey all in boxes. When they were renovating the building into 2010, they found about another 50 cases underneath the porch, wow. Which probably paid for the renovations. And it had Emma's name on it. Everything was very fantastic stuff. So the only thing original here now that is still here is the stairs. It's made of oak and mahogany, and it's been here for roughly 1972-73. The building was also called the Treetop Restaurant for many years. Many people in Burlington knew about the Treetop Restaurant that was here, and what else here? The original thing that is here is the mirror, which is from Emma's bedroom. Yeah. And when people go into the women's washrooms are haunted because that was Emma's bedroom. Oh, so okay. Every time the women go in and they look in the mirror, they see a woman standing behind them. Oh. They freak right out. They see the reflection of Emma. Yeah. So a lot of people, the women get locked in the washrooms, wow. And they run out and freak out. You see the ghost of Emma. Yeah. So it's kind of cool because Michelle, who was one of the people who did the ghost tours, never really believed in stuff in the ghost. She went to the washroom and she freaked out. She saw Emma in the washroom and she ran all the way down the stairs. Wow. She goes, I'm a believer now. And she never believed it. She always thought I made it up. Wow. But she freaked out. She goes, well, it's true now. Mm-hmm. Very cool. So the clock is also from Emma's family heirloom. It's brought over from London, England. It's the oldest clock in Canada, in probably Ontario, Canada. It's dated 1869, and it only has one hand, the hour hand, and missing the minute hand. Yeah. Does anybody know why it's not having the minute hand and not together as a clock? Reason being is, back in the old days, the rich didn't really want to know what time it was. They didn't really care. They had a clock watch, they had a stopwatch. They would take off the minute hand of the clock and only have the hour hand going. So that's where the term came from, 1-ish, 2-ish, or 3-ish. Because they really didn't want to know what time it was. Okay. That is 6:30-ish something. Oh, okay. So the actually minute hand is in the clock. It does work. And the last time I saw this work was in 2010. Okay. So Caitlin Johnson was one of the owners and passed away from cancer on October 10th, 2010. Oh, wow. And I didn't know they were having a wake upstairs. I didn't know they were having that thing going on. Mm-hmm. So I was paying tribute to Caitlin. And it was roughly around, I guess, same time, 9 o'clock, 9:30. And I'm talking about what Caitlin passed away. As soon as I said that, all the clock went crazy. It was started winding around, going nuts. It was going round and round. Wow. The bells are going off, the chimes. Wow. And probably a tribute to the fact I was, talking about Caitlin. And he always said, well, if I ever turn out to be a ghost here, I guess Emma will be in charge of me, because he was in charge of the restaurant. Oh, okay. It's kind of cool, and that's the last time it ever happened since we've been on the tours. So, being that they walked down safely, not many people do, there is a curse of Emma. And she never really, well, she only wanted the best people to come and eat at a restaurant. She wanted people looking good, dressed up. It's a fine dining place. Everything had to be right. She would stand on the top of the stairs. And ironically, she'd always stand on the fourth step watching people come in and out. So if she didn't like you, or you didn't like the food, or you complained, many times she would have the concierge throwing you down the stairs. Or she'd push people off the fourth step on the top.
Wow.
The story goes is even though it happened, ironically people have, when they come down the restaurant, they complain or they didn't pay their bill or something happens, they get thrown off the stairs. So the interesting thing is too that Emma moved to Martha Street apartment after she retired here, and she died on Martha Street by actually falling on the fourth step on her apartment, and she broke her neck. So ironically, the curse has happened, and to this day, we've had people swear that they've been pushed off the fourth step, not going up but coming down. And we had groups of people just literally go on the fourth step and they all fall down the stairs. We've seen on different tours. As I said, the washroom was haunted. It was Emma's bedroom. The other stairways, a lot of times people trip going down the stairs because that's also the entry to the other sections. It was renovated, fixed up. Many people actually see ghosts and things going on in the restaurant, and especially in the area where we're going to look at is the mirrors. That's the famous haunted mirrors that are still there from 1973 that hold the images and hold if you heard stories about mirrors actually retaining ghosts. And those mirrors do, especially when people come up and eat, they're looking in the mirrors and they're eating away, drinking, they go, there's a guy waving at me. And there's another guy smoking. And there's a guy going by in a bowler cap. And there's women waving around parasols and all kinds of stuff. And they're all looking at the drinks and they're going, it's thinking it's them. But it's been happening, and I can show you the actual picture we took. I might as well show it to you now, of Emma, of the ghost of the mirror. So this is Kaylin Johnson talking about the clock, and this is the ghost appearing above the clock.
Oh, damn.
Right there, when that happened, when we first started doing the tours. So if you look closely, it's hard to show it upstairs because there's no light. This is the actual picture. If you look in the front, there's a woman in the real time period, 2010. In the back is all the images or reflections of all people from another time. You can see women in parasols, men in bowler caps, and that reflection doesn't even look like anything facing the mirror. So there's no bookcases or nothing. And we retained all the images and captured it. It was shot at a 45-degree angle. And you look in the front, there's a woman sitting in the front. In the real present time, in the back, there's all the images of people from another time period. Pretty fantastic stuff. And that's the most incredible image we ever caught. Emma had 3 children we know of. These are the children ghosts all playing in the basement. You can see Robert, little Robert. He died at the age of 6. He was killed. He hit his head on the patio and he was killed. And Sarah Ann is the other little girl who died at the age of 4 of pneumonia in her sleep. And these are the little children ghosts that run around the hall, this upstairs and downstairs in the restaurant. They pull things around. They play with the cutlery, and they're always there. So you can see that, and you can see them on the pipes, just picking them up. It's pretty fantastic. And this was a more recent picture of Emma we caught in the bar 2 years ago. I was looking in the bar, and nobody was there. A flash came across the bar, and I took my picture. Emma always wore white and black. She always wore black. And it looks like she had white hair, and it looks like she's appearing. And just this flash appeared, and I took a shot of it. It's pretty fantastic. Pretty cool stuff. All these images can be found on the website. The last thing I want to freak you out with, this is another image of the bar. And the bar is not really supposed to be haunted because most of it's in the back. But I was sitting around, I saw something moving. If you look closely, you see a man, a guy with no head, just a jacket, long arms, walking right through into the wall of the bar. Yet, there's nobody there. If you look closely at it, it's also on our website. We blew it up. If you look closely at it, you can see long arms, a black jacket with no head, and it's walking right into the bar. Yet there was nobody there at the time. So it was very cool.
I know.
You can pass it on to these guys.
Yeah.
So that's some of the cool stuff. We're going to talk about the rest upstairs when we go up there.
You seeing it? Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go upstairs and show you all the other stuff that's going on. Okay, so this is known as the gallery. Here it's pretty small, actually, have you noticed? And this is where the family would gather in the mornings before they would decide what they'd make for dinner and lunch, and order all the way their food was. So the kitchen was very small. This has all been renovated because there was also rooms in the back. But this is where they have all the dining and facilities. You can see a lot of the fantastic events going on in the pictures over there. So Emma held all kinds of special events, charity events, and she was also known to be good friends with Mary Pellet from Casa Loma, and she started the Girl Guides of Ontario. So she was the first to start the Girl Guides up in Canada, and she and Mary Pellet from Casa Loma started all that going and got it together. So of course Henry Pellet was wealthy. Casa Loma, the most famous castle in Canada. We're going to go into the haunted area section, and this is the original menu. The estaminet. If you look at it, you could probably find a steak there for $5. Now it's equivalent of the amount of money you paid at the time. So in other words, lobster maybe like $4 or $5.
Yeah.
In those days, it would probably be worth. You only made like 50 cents to 80 cents an hour or a day. So you can imagine how much that would cost. Fine dining.
Yeah.
That would be equivalent to like $50. Or a steak would be like, say, $10.
Wow.
Be like equivalent to like $100 back then.
Yeah.
Because money was, and there was no tax back then until 1956. So it's kind of cool, the menu. The stuff they have, a sirloin steak is like, I think, $10 or $8.
Yeah.
And of course, you had to have money to go out when you're rich and driving around and being famous. That's what a lot of the rich did. We're going to go this way. I don't know what all that is, but we're there. So this is the actual area of the haunted mirrors. If you take pictures on a 45-degree angle, this is where most people have seen things and captured all the ghosts that appear.
Same picture.
So usually is on a 45-degree angle, and that's where most people have seen things. And coming off the mirrors, we're 1973, and this one is also haunted too. So people have seen many things coming off the mirrors as well. Sometimes there's even somebody in the mirror smoking, and you'll see smoke coming from the mirror. The guy's smoking, it's all coming out of the mirror. So it's very cool. Like I said, I showed you the picture of it. You can always check it on the website, but we've had good results of people picking stuff up. This is the main area that people have seen things and felt things. And usually in the corner there, on the far table, is also where people have seen a man all dressed in like farm kind of clothes, farm hand. And he'd be making leather. He'd be making leather strips and making things for horses. And he'd be there, people eating away, and they go, hey, a guy just appears and go, they thought he was a waiter or something, and he would just disappear. He'd be talking and mumbling, and they thought he was a waiter because he was all dressed in old period clothing.
Yeah.
So it's very kind of cool stuff over there. But this is also a view to the bay, Burlington Bay. And the patio is where, if they look straight down, if you go over there, you can look down. That's where Robert is usually seen on the patio.
Oh,
hanging around, you can see his face usually hanging around. His face usually appears in all the umbrellas. So it's kind of cool stuff, yeah. And if you look out there, usually when it's more of a blurry, a busy day, or like a lot of wind, a lot of the water's really violent, that's when Robert appears. But if you can all look out by the window there, where the tables are, and you might see his face hanging around. It's very clear. I got one picture of it a couple years ago. So this is known as fresh water from the Burlington, as opposed to the lodge. Emma's Lodge is like appetizers, burgers, hamburgers. Noticing it. So it's happened a couple times now. Have you ever picked that up, Brian?
That's crazy.
Oh boy, definitely.
Yeah, he'd be smiling away, he'd be looking out at everybody, and nobody even see it. And I'd see it pick it up. I'd see it in the bushes, I'd see it in everywhere else. So it's kind of... Okay, the rest of the restaurant is not haunted. It's just lots of wine and beer and all that other stuff. We're gonna go this way. They always say watch your step, but when most people come out here and walk down the stairs, they usually trip or fall down the stairs. So I'm going to watch you guys. Let's use one in the washroom. You go to the washrooms. Go down the stairs and hopefully you'll survive going down on the bottom. And not get pushed off the fourth step.
Oh, I'm going to use the camera.
So,
Everybody's going to use that.
it's weird because every time I mention the washroom, I go, oh, to go. It's like, I'd have like 30 people here and they all want to use the washroom. But then women's washrooms are. We're going to one last section downstairs before we go. I think the part you hate, Brian. Freezing cold. And this is where the staff would be staying downstairs, and this is where many people in the staff would go downstairs.
It's cold, yeah.
It's always cold. It's freezing cold. And that's where also Emma had her wake. So when she died, she had people visit. She had over 300 people visit her on the wake.
No.
We can't go down there because last time Ryan went down there and he got attacked by something down there. So there's some kind of entity down there, and if something happens, we can't. The restaurant doesn't want to be responsible.
Handle's warm.
Stop
Door is cold.
going down. But the door and the
Yeah, the handle's warm. Door is
Oh,
cold.
yeah, you're
The
right.
handle's always freezing cold. Usually it's cold.
But door, the main door
And that's
part
where
is
the people
cold.
used to live?
Also in this
The house,
hallway,
yeah, the house people, yeah.
several years ago, there was a staff working, either a bartender or a bartender and a wait staff, and they're fighting. And as they're fighting, it's usually on this spot, not a good spot for you. They had a fight, and the guy, somebody hit the guy with a bottle, wine bottle, in the head and killed him on this spot, and the guy died. And he was seen running down here and took off.
Oh my
Later,
god.
the guy was arrested for the murder,
Yeah.
but most people who are psychic feel like they're going to pass out, or they get a head injury, or they feel something in their head
Yeah.
where he probably failed right here on this spot.
Well,
It's
actually,
happened.
well, right now, telling the trauma of what happened, because right now I think very, very nauseous.
Yeah, and that's, if you're sensitive and psychic,
Yeah.
And
most
then,
people have felt that over here, and also
yeah, it was
on this side, many times the door opens on its own. There's a storage in here. Emma appears in the window of the storage.
I got it last year.
Yeah, you got that last year, and that's usually what happens. Sorry, later passed. And it's weird because this is also the kitchen, the original kitchen, where husband George died in the kitchen. And many people have seen the plates move, food move, all kinds of things moving around. Always around the kitchen, and when they put stuff on the plate, it disappears and falls on the floor.
Oh, wow.
You can't go in there because the staff are in here. We're not really supposed to be back here, but I'm just showing you the more haunted sections, and people see the images of Emma in the door, and the doors open and close on their own.
and besides, and the way that he died in there basically was from a heart
He had a
attack.
heart attack.
And that, because being against a pile of plates, and he fell down,
Yeah,
and the place went down with it.
You can't really hang around there.